Welcome, wrestling fans, to this review on Impact Wrestling No Surrender 2019. If you did not see this event, you didn't miss much of it. There wasn't much to talk about here. This show was an absolute bore fest, except for the main event, the match with Eddie Edwards and Ace Austin in a tables match, and a couple of matches that were slightly entertaining, but everything else on this show you could take or leave. Honestly, I didn't particularly care for this event very much. There was I will go over the spot of the night, the moment of the night, and the match of the night. So, I'm going to go ahead and do this short review. It's going to be real quick. It ain't going to be one of those 30-minute long reviews that I normally do, going over all the different details and what happens during the matchup. So let me get right into this. I will give you my 5 stars, 1 out of 5 stars, on what I felt on the match and how it went, and then I will go ahead and close it out with the 3 rewards for this show, like I have decided to start doing since the Survivor Series weekend for pay-per-views. So let's go into things. Trey defeating Logan James and Tyler Matrix. Well, the thing is, these 2 other guys with Trey were nobodies. So you don't even fucking know who these people are. They were guys that are part of the roster of the other promotion that was joined up with Impact Wrestling, and Trey ends up winning this matchup in a triple threat match to kickstart the show. The match was pretty decent. I give it a 3 out of 5 stars to start things off. Rosemary versus Madison Rayne 1-on-1. Rosemary defeats Madison Rayne in less than a few minutes. Actually less than 5 minutes. This match I will give a 1 out of 5 stars. A really shitty fucking match. Didn't really care for it. Rhino defeating Jeremiah. Who the fuck is Jeremiah Hook? I don't know. And they didn't really, go into much of what he is about. Really, all they really did was mention that he's into 3 different things, and that's whiskey, women, and wrestling. Whoop-de-fuck-you-do. He gets his ass kicked. Then Rhino ends up facing another opponent right after that. His name is Clayton Gaines. He goes 1-on-1 with Rhino, and he eats a gore as well. So, Jeremiah and Rhino, nothing. A half a star. It didn't even matter. The match didn't even go but 8 seconds. Rhino and Clayton Gaines, I give it a 2 out of 5 stars. That's about it. Michael Elgin versus Larry D. Larry D did get an interview earlier on during the show. He ends up getting interrupted by Michael Elgin, saying that he's going to give him a beating that he'll never forget and show that he is unbreakable. Larry D and Michael Elgin had a very, very decent match. I'd have to say that this matchup really was stiff. These 2 guys Elgin being more of a stronger guy, while Larry D is kind of a heavier set person. Larry D provided a good performance with Michael Elgin, probably the best performance out of all the guys that was on this other promotion. So I have to give kudos to him, as well as Impact did. They gave him an actual contract signed with Impact Wrestling, so now he's part of the Impact roster. Michael Elgin's matchup with him, I'm going to give this match a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Very decent matchup overall, especially for a guy I'm completely unfamiliar with. And he put on a decent matchup. Larry D, I'd really have to say, he reminds me of Otis from Heavy Machinery. He seems a lot like the Otis character. Got the same body structure and everything, but he's not an entertainer. He doesn't try to entertain you with goofy acting and all that stuff. He actually goes in there and he wrestles, which he did here with Michael Elgin. Ohio versus Everything, OVE, with Dave Chris and Jake Chris went up against the Desi Hit Squad of Mahabali Shari and Rajet Raju, going up and also up against the Rascals with Dez and Wentz. This matchup was pretty good for a triple threat tag team matchup. I mean, they had very limited space to do any major high-flying maneuvers because they were in a very small venue. But I would have to give them credit for where credit is due for the amount of time they had, which was only about 10 minutes, close to 10 minutes. That's all they really received for this matchup, and OVE, of course, walks out victorious. I will give this match a 3 out of 5 stars, less than the Michael Elgin and Larry D matchup, because I have to say that was pretty impressive by those two guys. I really would. So, yeah, I mean, a 3 out of 5 stars, I think, is fair enough for this tag team match, because of the fact it didn't really go the distance that it needed to really pick up some momentum, in my opinion. Madman Fulton defeating AC Romero, Brian Cage, Crash Jackson, and Willie Mack in a 5-way scramble match. This match was pretty hard-hitting, very similar to Michael Elgin and Larry D's match, but I would have to say it's a 3 out of 5 stars. I mean, it was very entertaining at the end, but the beginning and middle, it really didn't have a whole lot to offer, in my personal opinion, but until the end. So that's just how I feel on that matchup overall. The next match after that was Havoc, going up against Taya Valkyrie for the Impact Women's or Knockouts Championship, which Taya Valkyrie ends up retaining because she gets herself intentionally disqualified with Johnny Bravo. This matchup was a complete, utter failure. Really was a fucking worst match I've ever seen Taya Valkyrie in this year. She has performed in some pretty damn good matches, but this match, from what I've seen from her this year, this is the worst one. I give it a 1 out of 5 stars. Terrible fucking match. The match only went 6 minutes anyway. So that's all I have to say on that subject. That is a load of shit. Eddie Edwards going one-on-one with Ace Austin. Eddie Edwards picks up the victory by putting Ace Austin through the table in a very nice fashion, may I add, and closing out their rivalry while Ace Austin moves on to Trey and starts a new rivalry with him, trying to hit on his mom. So, I will go ahead and say this. Eddie Edwards and Ace Austin was fucking unbelievable match. I will give that match a 4 out of 5 stars, most definitely. And the last match was Sami Callihan defending his Impact World Heavyweight Championship against Rich Swann. These two guys were very stiff in the ring. They got the most crowd reaction out of all the matches. Eddie Edwards and Ace Austin trails right behind them. And it was a fucking fantastic main event. I will give them kudos. They have given and delivered a main event noteworthy for everyone to enjoy. So if there's anything you're going to watch on this show, you would want to watch the last 2 matches that were done at the end of the program. This matchup, I'm giving it a 4.5 out of 5 stars because this crowd was unbelievable with this match. They also had Rich Swann and Sami Callihan kind of revisit some of the stuff that happened earlier on during the year and so forth. So that alone was very good on their part to make this a pay-per-view type of world championship match the way they did it. And on top of it, they beat the shit out of each other left and right. Sami Callihan's finisher with the Cactus Pile Driver, I'm going to say this. This move, his finishing move, is being hurt a lot because they're having a lot of different opponents kick out of this move very often, which I don't particularly think is a good thing. Personally, I think it kind of sucks, and it hurts his move altogether. So that's just the situation on that. I think it kind of blows what they're doing with him on that. But that's just my opinion on all on that issue. Whatever. You know what I mean. Anyway, so Sami Callihan retains the title against Rich Swann in a very entertaining main event. Now, let's go into the moment of the night. Moment of the night has to go to Larry D getting that contract signing. Larry D getting the contract signing was probably a big moment for him, number one, for his family, and number two, his match with Michael Elgin was impressive for a guy that nobody ever heard of. So I will give them credit for that. That was the moment of the night. Larry D getting a contract with Impact Wrestling. The spot of the night. I'm going to say spot of the night was, and I forgot to mention, with Eddie Edwards and Ace Austin, which is the spot of the night with this match, was Eddie Edwards does a modified neck breaker on the leg of the table while the table's upside down and the legs facing upward, and he smashed his neck, Ace Austin's neck, right into the steel of the legs of the table. I will go to say this. That was the spot of the night. The match ended with the kendo stick while Ace Austin's on the top rope trying to perform his the card fold maneuver where he goes from the top rope, does a modified neck breaker, leap off the top rope, kind of lands backwards and grabs you by the neck and puts you down through the mat. Well, that's pretty much what that was. It was basically the Buff Bagwell blockbuster maneuver that you see performed all the time. And Eddie Edwards ends up hitting him with the kendo stick several times while a table's set on the outside, and he falls crashing through the table onto the concrete floor. There's actually no padding, may I add. I forgot to mention that to you guys. But yeah, he ends up on the floor and out like a light. The match of the night is no doubt Sami Callihan and Rich Swann's match. That was downright unbelievable. I was going to give the Sami Callihan spitting in Rich Swann's face with a big glob of spit on his face, Rich Swann's face, and then Rich Swann taking that spit that came out of Sami Callihan's mouth and actually putting it in his own mouth and swallowing it. It was probably the most disgusting thing I have ever seen in professional wrestling in a very, very long time. But that was not the spot of the night. Because of Larry D's contract signing, I have to give it to Larry D for that as being the moment of the night. But Sami Callihan, Rich Swann, they get the match of the night here. This match was fucking unreal. Very good, entertaining main event. Hard-hitting, back-and-forth action that led to Sami Callihan, not Sami Swann, I'm mixing the first and last name together, the two competitors. Sami Callihan ending up beating Rich Swann and getting the 1-2-3 to walk away, still the Impact Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion. Of course, that was going to happen because you got a match with Tessa Blanchard going into January 12th. So that's pretty much it, guys. Show was okay. Wasn't horrible, but it wasn't all that great either. I mean, if you missed it, it doesn't really matter. But anyway, guys, leave your comments and opinions down below. Hit the like button if you liked the video, and hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed to the channel. And I thank you very much for watching, and have a great night, guys. Bye.